Hi there, so this is another video which I'm going to title as a response to Lindybeige, that is Lloyd, and as before I want to highlight that I really love Lindybeige's videos, not all of them but most of them, but anyway I enjoy watching them and they stimulate some good thoughts, good discussions, so this is not a rant against him at all, but just picking out one point that he makes and giving my own view on it, my own slant on it, which actually perhaps disagrees. So, the suggestion that double-bitted axes are not a good idea and not historical. So what do we mean by double-bitted? That is the type of double-bladed axe, so with a axe blade on both sides, and that wasn't used, and that's not a good idea. Okay, the general argument being that it's a needless amount of weight to make your battle axe, essentially. Right, so that is essentially a wrong assumption. Firstly, they did exist historically. You can see them in both historical art and in surviving antiques. Most of the surviving examples I can think of and that exist in museums and you can find online are Indo-Persian. That is from Persia and India and perhaps debatably Afghanistan at certain points as well. And these are double-bitted axes. They've got two blades and a spike on the top. They did exist. Now, why is it not fair to say that they're a bad idea or needless weight? Well, let's take a normal, in inverted commas, battle axe or war hammer. Okay, so here I've got a war hammer. Now look, it's got a hammer on one side and a spike on the other side. Okay, now if I wanted to make this into an axe, I'd take it to my blacksmith and I'd say, forge this side out flat so it's an axe blade. And I think, brilliant, now I've got a conventional battle axe. I've taken the same amount of metal, I've squashed it out flat, and it's now in the shape of an axe blade and I can sharpen that. Great, I think. Okay. And then, after a while I think, well, I'm not using this spike much, I'd quite like another blade. Because, for those of you who practice styles of European swordsmanship or other types of weapon in European systems, you will know that there are movements with the front of a weapon and there are movements with the back of a weapon. And it's sometimes very, very useful to be able to hit directly with front and back without having to change the orientation of the weapon. Okay? So sometimes, for whatever reason, people wanted two axe blades. And we know this because, as I said, you can see it in historical art, in European and Middle Eastern and Indian art, and there are surviving examples in museums for anyone to go and see. Okay, and you can even find them on Google Images. If you search in Google Images, go to Indo-Persian axe or Indo-Persian battle axe, and you'll find examples straight away. Very easy to find. Now let's assume that I don't want my spike anymore, so I have that side squished out flat into an axe blade, and there you go, suddenly I've got a double-bitted axe with the same metal, not making anything heavier than it already was, okay, because a warhammer has already got easily sufficiently enough iron or steel, depending what it's made of, in each face to make two axe blades. Now let's look, you might think, okay, that's a very small warhammer. Well, hello, what do we have here? It's a poleaxe, okay? The poleaxe here, you'll see this is a nice big blade, bing, it's nice high tensile steel. This is from cold steel, fairly sharp, I've used this for chopping things. And as you often have with a poleaxe, you have a hammer on the backside, sometimes you have a spike on the backside. But you know what? You could very easily forge out that steel that's currently in the shape of a hammer by adding no metal at all, and you'd end up with an axe blade. The thing to know about battle axes is the blades are thin. They are not as thick as a wood chopping axe, and you can't base any assumptions about battle axes, fighting axes. You can't base any assumptions on looking at wood chopping axes because they're entirely different things. Wood chopping axes are heavy and cumbersome and you can't wave them around easily. Fighting axes are nice and light and you want to be able to use them easily and nimbly. Okay, and this is big. This is a big pole axe. something smaller for use in one hand, is a fairly nimble thing that you can move pretty much as quickly as a one-handed sword. Okay, it's just got a different centre of gravity, different point of balance. So there you go. Double-bitted axes did exist, and they're no heavier than any other weapon which has two projections on both sides, which many weapons do. And I should also add, the other advantage to having two projections on both sides is now the weapon is more balanced and it is easier to manoeuvre around its centre of axis there, which gives it a nicer feeling in the hand rather than having all the weight just on one face of the weapon. Thank you.